Hey everybody, Pierre Quinn here, and I teach leaders how to courageously begin the journey to personal and professional transformation. And in this video, I want to talk to you about the strange feeling that we've all been feeling recently. A couple of weeks ago, I hit a wall. I mean, a flat out wall. And I didn't want to be creative, I didn't want to connect, and I had a general sense of feeling overwhelmed. Have you felt that way recently too? I was trying to figure out where the feeling was coming from, and then after some reading and after some conversations, I figured it out. I was grieving, and you've been grieving too. Scott Berinato, in his Harvard Business Review article, talked about the fact that collectively we're all grieving right now. We're all mourning the loss of our normal. That's what all my seniors were feeling when the school year was canceled and there would be no opportunity to walk across the stage and get your cap and gown. That's what all the job seekers were feeling when the interview process was going so well, but it was abruptly shut down because travel was canceled. That's what you felt when you postponed your wedding or put off the trip of a lifetime. If you're anything like me and you make your livelihood by traveling and talking to people and training teams, that's the feeling that you felt when your engagements were canceled or postponed. Collectively, we're all grieving. Malls are closed, restaurants are shut down, and we're stuck inside. I mean, it's heavy, isn't it? I mean, really, really heavy. In the article, Scott points us to the Kubler-Ross stages of grief. There's the denial stage. That's the stage when you don't want to believe at all this is actually happening. That's what I felt when I was in the middle of planning my book tour, headed to Nashville, and airlines started shutting down and canceling tickets, and I was holding out for hope against hope that my trip wasn't going to be canceled. I mean, it couldn't have been that bad, right? There's also the anger stage of grief. That's the stage where you want to kick something, where you want to punch something, where you want to scream at the top of your lungs because you realize, yeah, this is actually happening. There's the bargaining stage. And in the bargaining stage, you begin to reach out to others to find solidarity because of shared stories. It's when you like posts on social media, when people pour out their hearts because you get where they're coming from. It's when you find anybody who can sympathize with your experience. Then there's the depression stage. In the depression stage, you don't want to do anything. You don't want to go anywhere. You don't want to talk. You don't want to hang out. You don't want to be cheered up. You don't want to watch TV. You struggle to get out of bed because of how you feel. And then there's the acceptance stage of grief. The acceptance stage is when you embrace the reality that things will never go back to the way that they were, that you'll have to find a new way of negotiating life, and that it's okay to put one foot in front of the other, even if you don't know what the outcome is going to be. The interesting thing about the Kubler-Ross stages of grief is that they don't have to occur in any specific order. You don't have to start with denial and then move to anger and then move to bargaining and then move to depression and then move to acceptance. No, they can occur in any form or fashion, and anything can trigger the stages of grief. You know, like when you lost your wallet, you had to cancel all of your cards, you had to get replacements and reset all of your passwords. Yeah, that can be a cause for grief. In his article, Scott gives a handful of suggestions for navigating grief. One of the suggestions is to focus on all the things that you can control. Our news cycle is 24 hours. Social media inundates us with crazy stories, and we're bombarded by things that we can't control. But there are things that you can control. Even in the midst of the most uncertain times, you have control of your attitude. They say that life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you respond to it. So in light of that, what does an attitude adjustment look like for you? Another suggestion from this Harvard Business Review article is to extend more compassion, because Lord knows we can all use a bit more compassion. Extend compassion when there are other people at the store clamoring for goods also. Extend compassion when you're on the line with customer service, because this has probably been their 100th call and everyone has been angry and they're trying to make it through the day too. Extend compassion when your kid doesn't want to sit down at the computer, where they're tired of digital assignments, and when they're asking questions about why things just can't go back to normal. Extend compassion because we're all wrestling with the weight of this thing. I'll add another suggestion to what Scott shared in his article. Find somebody to talk to. Don't just sit under the weight of this thing alone. Find somebody to reach out to, find somebody to share with, so that you don't feel like you have to go it alone. Listen, collectively, around the world, no matter your socioeconomic status, no matter your ethnic origin, no matter where you're geographically located, we're all grieving and we're all looking forward with hope to better days. So let's be honest. How are you dealing with everything that's going on? And what stage of grief do you find yourself in?